Hey guys, coming at you today with a quick treat you can make with just stuff you have on hand in your pantry. I have a lot of cookies left over from all my testing, or if you have just cookies in your pantry and you want to spice them up a little bit, you can make some cookies and cream truffles. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. My name's Alicia and I'm a sous chef with a sweet tooth. And here we make delicious keto pastries from my time as a pastry chef, and my goal is to make them the best keto desserts possible. If you enjoy this content, please hit the subscribe button down there. I'm coming at you every Saturday with a new keto dessert recipe. If you saw my last video, I'll link it up there. My keto chocolate sandwich cookies, aka Oreos. I did a lot of testing, so I got tons of cookies left over and I had to figure out ways to use them up. And I'm sure there's many of you out there who have made keto desserts that haven't turned out right. And I want you guys to have some options to turn them into something else, because I hate wasting food. And believe me, with all this testing, I always try to use up all my stuff. So this is a perfect little treat you can make. It'll take no time at all to put together and is a delicious, almost fat bomb. So we're adding in a bunch of butter. So all I have here is 4 ounces of a white chocolate chip. You can literally use any chocolate chips you have on hand. And I have these, which I'm not the biggest fan of in this application because they're just so sweet, but we're doing things to counteract that. So we're gonna pop on our heavy cream. So it's just 3 ounces of heavy cream, 4 ounces of chocolate, 2 tablespoons of butter, some salt, and our cookie crumbs. Once our cream has come to a simmer, you just pour it over our white chocolate chips. And definitely let this sit for a minute. You might even have to blast it in the microwave still, because these white chocolate chips are very difficult to get to actually melt down. I'm doing this simple go-to recipe today because I've been working on bread and it is so much work, but I'm onto something. Okay, I'm just gonna give this a little whisk, see if all the chips actually melted. I literally could not find Lily's white chocolate chips anywhere online. But these are zero net carbs, but that's because literally the first ingredient is erythritol. That's why they're so sweet. White chocolate just doesn't like to melt. It likes to clump up. Don't mind the train if you can hear that in the background, but I'm gonna pop this in the microwave on 50% power for like 20 seconds just to get the rest of the chips melted. See if that was enough. Okay, but my suggestion with any kind of filling you're making, always taste it for sweetness, and if it's too sweet, there's a couple things you can do. So I upped the butter from 1 tablespoon to 2. This is salted butter. That'll help cut down on the sweetness a little bit. You just want to put that in room temperature and mix it until it's all melted in there. Most of the butter's melted. I'm gonna give this a little taste now. Still really sweet. So I'm just gonna put in 2 pinches and give it another little taste. Remember, you're also adding some chopped cookies to this, so that's gonna add more sweetness too. Definitely better. I just crushed up some cookies with a rolling pin real quick, and I measured out how many I thought it would need in here, and I found that about 5 tablespoons roughly of chopped cookies was the right amount. This is kind of difficult to figure out the macros on because obviously you can use whatever you want for this. Any kind of cookies. These high-key cookies, I have the chocolate chip right now, but I really enjoy their double chocolate brownie cookies, and that would go really well in here too. So the macros below are for 4 of my Oreo cookies that I made last week. It's only 6 grams of net carbs for all this, so however many we get out of it, which I think I'm gonna get at least 12. Half a carb per. This has to go in the refrigerator to set up until it's completely solid. That's cookies and cream. I did a little pre-prepping and I have one ready to go. I'm just gonna use an ice cream scoop this time. We're not putting anything in the middle of these guys. So just fill it up, pop it out, and roll it up. And that's it. I'm gonna show you a couple different ways you can decorate these. As soon as I roll all these, I'm popping them in the refrigerator and we're gonna get on to melting some chocolate. Okay, balls are in the fridge. So, time to melt some chocolate. I have much in-depth videos on tempering chocolate. If you want to check out my hot cocoa bombs, I'll link that up there. I'm just gonna be melting this, trying not to go too high, getting it to 86 degrees to dunk some of our truffles. We're gonna do a couple different variations today. Now, these are semi-sweet chocolate chips because they have 0 carbs in them. I tried to figure it out with dark chocolate, and from Lily's, if you have 6 ounces and you use it all, that adds 24 grams of carbs to your truffles. So it's kind of high. I'm going to show you a couple different things you can do that'll actually help with the sweetness. Just rolling them in cocoa powder. A lot of truffles are just rolled in cocoa, kind of a traditional way of doing it. I only went to 89 this time, which means I have chips left. It'll bring it down to the right temperature. Sometimes I can do it right and grab my truffles out of the fridge. Okay, so I got a plate of cocoa powder here. So literally you can just take your truffles and roll them in some cocoa powder. And there's your little truffle treat. That's the easiest way to go. And it's funny, with being a chef, my mind doesn't always go to the simple, solutions to things. I always want to make it extravagant and over the top. And I forget that, not everybody wants that or, can do that. So literally these truffles, you can just pour that filling right into some fat bomb molds, pour some chocolate over or whatever you want, and you have little fat bombs. You don't even have to do the rolling and all that stuff. My mind just doesn't think about those things. It's always, how can I make this as fancy as possible? But there's always different ways to do things. You do not have to follow what I do. I try to give suggestions on different ways. But I also have my cookie crumbs here. I'm gonna sift them that I have just the fine bits. Then you can use these to just decorate or to roll in. So I'll do a couple in there. I want to roll these a little bit more to get them kind of pushed in. There, now you just have some more cookies. Those are cute. Then you can also use these to decorate, which I'll show you fancy ways to do it. That's just my way. I'm always a little extra. Now to dunk some truffles in some chocolate. You sprinkle some of these with your... so you can remember what they are, if you have multiple truffles in your refrigerator, like me. So I'm just gonna do 6 in chocolate, and then I always weigh my chocolate out to start, and then I weigh it again after I'm done. That way I know how much chocolate I used. Probably less than 3 ounces for only 6 truffles. I'm gonna roll the rest in the cocoa powder because I think that's gonna help the most with offsetting the sweetness of the inside. Then I'm gonna pop these in the refrigerator, and I'm gonna melt a little white chocolate to make these really fancy. I really only did like 20 chips in there. And it'll be like, not melted, not melted, not melted. Now it's melted. So I just have a Ziploc bag here. I got a teeny tiny hole in the bottom. To make this easier, you can just put it over a glass. That way you can pour it right into that hole. I'm just gonna pour this into my little homemade piping bag. Totally extra, but we gotta make it look pretty for the thumbnail too, right? So I just have a tiny bit in there. You just grab it all the way down here, and you just go back and forth and back and forth. There you go. Also go that way too. And also, you just take a little bit of your cookie crumbs, do it over the top. Fancy schmancy. There we go. That looks nice. Our finished truffles. Only a half a gram of net carb each. There's really nothing in the filling except for my cookies. So whatever cookies you use, that's what your macros are. I'm gonna let these set a minute and I'll be back to try one. Okay, got my beautiful plate of truffles. They look delicious. And these are perfect to make for your Valentine's Day sweetheart. These are truffles. They look like truffles. They're gonna taste like truffles. Pick this guy out. I'm gonna take a nice big bite. That is sweet and delicious. The semi-sweet chocolate definitely cuts the sweetness of the center. You can taste the butter too. And the salt counterbalances the sweetness. Definitely want to try one of these cocoa ones. This is gonna be a mess though. Don't breathe in or out when you eat these. You get the initial bitter of the cocoa and then the sweetness of the center. Great way to use up cookies that aren't perfect, but they still taste good. They just weren't the best out of the batch. I hope you guys give these a try for yourself. A great, easy treat to have in your refrigerator for those sweet cravings. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite cookies and cream dessert is, and maybe it'll end up in a video. If you enjoy this content, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back with many more keto dessert recipes. Bye guys.